Hello everyone and welcome to or back to Tahari Talks, your therapy in addition to the therapy where we get your mental and your spiritual right all at the very same time. Welcome to episode 44 of Tahari Talks, where we will be talking about stewardship and managing what God gave you, managing what God gave me, managing the blessings that God trusts us with. Before we get into today's topic, if this is your first time here, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on new episodes of Tahari Talks, as well as the notification bell so that again you do not miss out on anything Tahari Talks. If you're listening on an audio only platform, I appreciate you so much for tuning in. Shout out to you. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit me with a like so that we can keep this content flowing, okay? This is my first topic-based episode of the new year. I know you're like, girl, it's March, but y'all know there's a reason why we're just now getting on topic-based episodes. I had to start with that labor and delivery story from last episode. If you haven't seen it, be sure to go ahead and tune into that episode. But now we can get back to work. And first, I want to begin with stewardship. Before we get into any topics about new blessings, new paths, new purpose, new anything, we need to go back to the drawing board and manage what we already have, the things that God has already entrusted us with. We need to manage those things well. And it's funny that we're having this conversation because for the past 2 years, my bishop, who is also my uncle, y'all know this, I talk about him all the time in these episodes, but he's been talking about management and how we manage things well as it relates to the blessings that God trusts us with. And I've also been seeing in the marketplace, aka in the world, on social media, this revolving door conversation where people are saying and reminding their listeners on their platforms that you don't need more. You just need to manage what you have well. You don't need to open a new avenue, another business, embark on another new thing. You just need to manage the ones that you have now and already well. And in doing so, you will see new fruit from old blessings or from existing blessings. I don't want to call them old blessings, but you'll see new fruit from the existing things in your life if you manage it better. And in thinking about this topic, I've been also thinking about the fact that more blessings equal more responsibility. And if we're not responsible over the things that we have now, then we will never be responsible for the things that are to come. And we don't want to fumble the things that are to come. So how do we avoid doing that? We manage what we have now well. And in addition to not fumbling the blessings that are to come, you also don't want to move into your next season or receive the things that you asked for and then you're burned out. That's also a thing that we want to avoid because you could not fumble it. You could juggle it. But how do you feel while you're juggling it? Are you burned out all the time? Because if that's the case, then you're not even enjoying the fruit of the blessings that you've been laboring for. But before we get into that, y'all know we got to start with the natural with some basic definitions, and we'll move into the spiritual, and then we'll get into the practicality of it all. How do I steward my blessings better? How do I steward my life, the aspects and corners of my life well? Because we never want to assume that you know definitions whenever you come here. Let's define it simply. What is stewardship? We always hear this word. It's thrown around in church. Now it's being thrown around in the marketplace. Stewardship, stewardship, stewardship. What does it even mean? So simple definition of stewardship is how you manage what does not technically belong to you. Simple and plain. Because if we're honest, if we look at things with a plain eye view, we're quick to say my house, my car, my job, my kids, my spouse, my family, my, when really none of this belongs to us. God is allowing us to raise his children. God is allowing us to love his son or his daughter. God is allowing us to use the gifts that he has instilled in us in the marketplace in certain jobs, but none of it is ours. If you miss a payment on that mortgage, they're coming to take that house. If you miss a payment on that car, they're coming to take it. If that car, that cash car that you say, oh, well, mine is paid off. If it breaks down tomorrow, guess what? It's no longer yours. If you're not managing it well, it's still going to be snatched up from under your feet. And so we have to first remember that nothing that we own, nothing that we possess belongs to us. It's all God's. It all comes from him. And it's not just the tangible things either. It's time, it's energy, platforms, gifts, opportunities, our mental health, our influence. All of these things need to be stewarded well. And you may be asking yourself, why is it important now? It's always been important, but we keep hearing this theme, this conversation come up now. And that's because there's more access, there's more visibility, and all of those things equal more responsibility. And when you don't steward all of the things that I just mentioned well, you leak energy, you burn out, you waste time, you're not in alignment, and you resent the things that were originally supposed to be blessings. So while it was supposed to come into your life and be something that blessed you, the thing that you prayed for, you end up resenting it and not even enjoying it, like I just said, because you're not stewarding it well. Because the truth of the matter is, some of us aren't tired because we're doing too much or because we have too much on our plate. Because, baby, I love when I'm clocking my own T's because I'm wincing as I'm saying it. Like, ooh, 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 ooh. Are we telling our business? Are we in our business? Yeah, we are. And that's okay. But we're not tired because we're doing too much. Even though that is a lot of our testimonies. You are doing too much. Sometimes I'm doing too much. But a lot of times the issue is not the things on our plate. We're just simply managing it wrong. And I hate to be the one to tell you that you're just managing it wrong. But a lot of times we are. That's the truth. So let's look at this from a spiritual lens, and then we're going to get into the practicality. Y'all know the question every time. What does the Bible say about stewardship? I really tried to narrow this down, but I have 4 scriptures for y'all. And it's been a second since I've been able to talk to y'all, so y'all just gonna have to bear with me while we get through the scripture, because the Bible has a lot to say about stewardship. Big surprise there. You're not surprised because the gifts come from God. Why wouldn't he tell you how to manage what he gave you? That's like somebody giving you a piece of technology and it comes with no instruction manual. Half of us don't read the instruction manual anyway because we think we're smarter than we are. Again, clocking my own T's. But God is not going to give us anything without showing us how to go about managing that thing. It's all in his word. So with that being said, first things first, parable of the talents, Matthew 25. Let's read through some of it. I'm not going to go through the entire chapter because it is long. I want you to go through and read it, especially if you're not familiar with the parable of the talents. But basically, in summation, a master gives 3 of his servants wealth because he's going on a journey. He's going away. So he gives one servant 5 bags of gold. He gives a second servant 2 bags of gold, and he gives a third servant 1 bag. The man who receives 5 bags of gold goes and puts his money to work and gains 5 more. So it's like he put his money in the stock market and he doubled it. Y'all know how the scammers be like, spend 5,000, I'm gonna turn it into 10,000. That's what he did essentially, but it was legal. It wasn't scamming. Then the servant who received 2 more did the same thing. He received 2, he gained 2 more. The servant that received 1 bag of gold went and hid his. He buried it so that he could give it back when the master returned. Master comes back. He wants to see, what did y'all do with the things that I entrusted you with? The one who doubled his 5 is like, hey, this is what I did. I put it to work. I got 5 more. Verse 21 is what I want to emphasize. It says, his master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags also came. He said, you entrusted me with 2. See, I've gained 2 more. Again, master says, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I'll put you in charge of many. Come and share my happiness. 1 bag man says, I knew that you're a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and I went out and hid your gold in the ground. And then he gives it back. Here's what belongs to you. The master replies, you wicked and lazy servant. You knew I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. Let's break that down. The ones who doubled what they were given were told, well done, my good and faithful servant. Good and faithful. We all say that those are the words that we want to hear from the Lord whenever we make it to those golden gates. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Oh, that just clicked to me. The fact that the words that we say that we want to hear whenever we get to meet the Lord face to face are repeated here in Matthew in reference to talents and stewardship goes to show just how important stewardship is to God. If we want to be told, well done, my good and faithful servant, and this is the time where he's saying my good and faithful servant, is when he's seeing how you're stewarding the things that he leaves to you. Why would we not steward the blessings well? I also love and noticed and wanted to emphasize verse 21 where he tells the one hiding that he should have put it in another's hands. He says, you should have just put it in the banker's hands, because if we gave it to the bankers, at least we would have received interest for it. And that is a testament to the fact that if you do not steward what God has given you, then he'll give it to somebody else. Oh, you're not going to do what's needed? All right, let me put it in the hands of my good and faithful servant that I already know they're going to obey. They're going to steward well. They're going to double the blessing. And that's what I mean when I say don't trick yourself out your spot. Because while you're waiting, while you're delaying, while you're making excuses, while you're hiding, while you're being fearful, while you're being scared, not operating in your gifts, the one who's at bat, ready to go and ready to do it scared, ready to do it fearful, ready to do it unsure, they're going to be the one to execute what you should have simply because you didn't steward it well. And it's a reminder that God expects growth out of us. He's not expecting perfection. He just wants you not to hide. He wants you to manage well. He wants you to put the things that he's giving you to work. And if you notice, these servants, they're servants. They didn't have bags of gold just waiting in the cut. God gave them. God gives us the things. We don't have to slave for them in the way that we would had God's hand not been in it. That thing that you're so naturally good at doing, that's God given. God is breathing on that gift. I'm just so good at talking to people. You didn't just wake up and decide to be like that. God made you that way for the good that you can do in his kingdom. I'm just good with my hands. You didn't just wake up good with your hands. God made it that way. So he's given us these bags of gold in the form of gifts, in the form of inclinations, in the form of the things that we're drawn to. And it's up to us to steward it well and either double it, or you can choose to hide. And you see that didn't go well for the servant and it won't go well for you. I could stay there longer, but I'm not going to do it. Luke 16:10 is our next verse, and it reads, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much." How you manage $1 is how you manage 100, is how you manage 100K, is how you'll manage 1,000,000. This verse doesn't really need much expounding on because it speaks to itself. Show God how you can be trusted with what you have now to make it plain and clear that you can be trusted with more. How will you handle the more? Next verse is 1 Corinthians 4:2, and it reads, "Now it is required that those who have been given a trust must prove faithful." And that ties into the Luke verse as well. It's just constant reminders. It's required. It's not suggested that those who have been given a trust must prove faithful or you should prove faithful. It says it's required. You must. It's not optional. If you want to be trusted with more, you have to be proven faithful with the little things. Again, self-explanatory, doesn't need much. I just needed to be able to read it to you so that you can see the word does not play when it comes to being faithful over the blessings that you've been given. And then last but not least, Psalm 24:1. I want to remind you in the way that I started. It says, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it." It's covering every basis. The earth is the Lord's. We reside on the earth. So if we in his place of residence, then guess what? All this is mine. Everything in it. Everything that's tangible. Everything that's not. The world and all who live in it. You, me. Nothing is exempt. I was just talking about in the last episode how intentional God is with the language that he uses in the verses and in the word. That's not happenstance. He's not using these words because they sound good and they mesh well together. He's using them because they ring true and every word has meaning. Everything in it. All who live in it. And that's just reminding us that all of this comes from God. None of it belongs to us. Is backed by the word. What I was just saying, the kids aren't yours, the house isn't yours, the car isn't yours, the camera I'm filming on isn't mine, the words that I'm speaking don't belong to me. It all belongs to him. If we treated everything like it was directly from God, I think we would treat things better. We would manage things better. So long as we revere the one who gave it to us, we're going to handle it with care, keeping that fact in mind, keeping that point in mind. This isn't mine. I got to steward it a little better, knowing that at some point I'm going to have to return this. Example, you get a book from the library. I know most of us don't do that anymore, but you get a book from the library. You know at some point you're going to have to get that back. And if not, you're going to have to answer to the damages. You're going to have to pay a fee. You may not be able to rent again. There's going to be something that you have to answer to for the way that you handled this thing while it was in your care. At the end of this lifetime, we are going to have to answer to the way that we did and did not steward the things that were given to us during this time. How will you answer? How will you show up? Will you give excuses as to why you didn't, as to why you couldn't, as to why you chose not to? Or will you be able to say, I did the best that I could with what you gave me at the time that I was given it? God cares about how you handle the small things. He's never going to give you the big thing if you're not handling the small thing. And not only that, but we have to remember that stewardship is worship. So how you manage is how you honor God, how you show him. I'm thankful for the things that you gave me. I was watching a video, a day in the life that somebody posted on YouTube Shorts, I want to say the other day. And she was like, I'm cleaning up my space because I don't need God wondering whether I'm thankful or not for the blessings that he chose to give me. And that ate so bad because it's a clever way of saying what I've been saying all of this time. Make it clear that you're grateful for the things that you're receiving. I also want you to be reminded that the wasted seasons still are full of lessons. And I say this because y'all know I'm always saying God wastes nothing. For the ones listening on audio only, I'm doing air quotes because nothing is truly wasted. God can redeem all. God can use everything. But what you don't want to be guilty of is having to return to the same season over and over again because you didn't learn the lesson the first time, the second time, the third time. Obedience accelerates growth. So you want to be guilty of stewarding well, learning the lesson so that the growth will come. And growth does not always equate to the material things. Growth as a person, growth in the spirit, growth in the form of maturation. Don't keep having to return to the lessons and the lazy. Steward well. God is not just watching what he gives you. He's watching how you handle it. Perfect example. example, if you give somebody, your homegirl, your person, whatever, you give them a shirt, and when they bring that shirt back to you, it has holes in it, or it's ripped up, or it's shrunken, and the words on it, the graphic is faded. Are you then going to turn around and give them your fur coat? Absolutely not. You could not handle my shirt well. Why would I give you something of higher value if you could not manage a t-shirt well? If he blesses you with that apartment and you don't manage it well, you're not cleaning up, you're cluttering it with everything, letting anybody come in and out, you're not locking up the door when you go, you're not protecting it, then why would he give you the house? If you're doing the same things with the house, but you're praying for land, he's not going to give you more and continue to expand you when the things that he did give, the ways that he did pour out, were not stewarded well. So, with that being said, let's move into the practical. 7 ways and areas in which you could steward well. First being stewarding your time. I want you to be so protective of your yes that you ask yourself every time you make a decision, am I being protective of my yes? Am I being protective of my yes to myself? Am I being protective of my yes to the things that matter the most? Most of all, am I being protective of my yes to God? What deserves my best hours and what gets the leftovers? How do I do that? Time blocking, saying no to the things that do not fit into the parameters that I just stated. And when you say no, you stop over explaining yourself. There's no over explanations for boundaries. It is what it is because it just is. Just yesterday, I had a long to-do list. I was kid free for a few hours, well, for most of the day, but I had a lot that I wanted to get done. So what did I do? The night before, I went through, I wrote out a schedule as well as a to-do list. All right, in this time, this is what I'm going to do. The next time, and I stuck to it. It didn't mean that I didn't feel rushed, and it didn't mean that I was just completely at ease, chilling, just walking through it, and that it was perfect. But I got everything done that I needed to get done for the most part. So using those tools to help you steward the things well. I had areas of my home that I needed to get right. I had to take care of certain things with the children. I was able to do that. I had to edit content. I had to submit to brands. I was able to do all of those things, to film more content while doing those things. Why? Because I was time blocking, stewarding my time well, stewarding my platforms well, stewarding my gifts well, stewarding my children, my family, my husband well. Another way to do that is remembering that everything can't be and is not a priority, because that's how you get absolutely nothing done. What matters most right now? And be clear in what matters most. Whether that's listing it out, asking God to make it clear to you because you're unsure about how and what to prioritize, get clear on that. Second area, steward your energy well. Not everything and everyone deserves access to it. To you. How do you do that? Limit draining conversations. You ever sit on the phone with somebody and you realize either you didn't get a word in or you talked about absolutely nothing for the past hour? Cut it off. All right, got a blast. All right, all that said has been said. All right, I'm gonna head out now. You know what? I'm gonna call you back. You know what? I gotta go. You know what? This phone is dying. I don't know what that looks like for you. Protecting your energy and how you're pouring out and what you're pouring into. Protecting your rest. Also, by stopping the trauma bonding. A lot of times you look up and realize that you're only in relationship, you're only in conversation with this person because it's a trauma bond present. We gotta stop that. You cannot heal if you continue to trauma bond over the same things that you're trying to heal from. Another thing, taking breaks before you burn out to avoid burning out. That's how you protect your energy. That's how you steward your energy well. There's a difference between availability and accessibility. Sometimes you may be available, but that doesn't mean that you need to make yourself accessible. Maybe my schedule is available. I talk about this too. Maybe I'm available according to the calendar, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be accessible to allowing people to take up that time on my calendar, to take up my energy during the time that I'm available. Next area, I want you to steward your finances, your money well, even if you don't have much of it right now. I remember whenever I was first getting into stay-at-home mom life, content creation, full-time life, the money was not coming in, baby. And I kept saying, God, I will budget well, but I need the funds to be able to budget. And because anytime it would come in, I stuck to a certain structure, stuck to paying my tithes, stuck to, all right, let me move some little bit to savings, even if it wasn't much then. Now that things have picked up, now that things are continuing to pick up, the structure, the foundation has been laid, and I can continue to steward the more well, because when it was little to nothing, and I mean little to nothing, I was managing it as much as I could, building that muscle. So now I don't think twice when the tithe is bigger, because tithers know you could tithe off the $100. It's like, oh, $10, cool. But when that 10 turns to 1,000 to a 2,000, it's like that tithe is getting bigger too. So you gonna rob God, or you gonna continue to steward those finances well too? Because he want to see what you gonna do with it. You asked for me to bless you, I'm blessing. Your tithe is a little bigger though, so you still gonna give it, or you gonna be stingy with it? What's up? And sometimes you may have to swallow hard when you submit it. Oh, that one hurt a little bit. but I never doubt that I'm going to get a return on every seed that's sown because it's the right thing to do. The system is the system for a reason. Soon as the payment clears, the first thing I'm doing, tithing. And I got that listed to get to that, but that's the first thing that came to mind because that's something that I never played about. Whether it's $100 deal or $1,000 deal, $100 hitting the account or $1,000 hitting. Shoot, soon 10K, 100K. I'm speaking it right now. Giving to those in need. Giving when I really didn't have it to give, but I know that I'll never go without. And because I have a little extra, let me help this person. Reach out to this person. Get this for that one. Keeping your emergency fund intact. Keeping a budget that you stick to. Not emotionally spending just because you in your feelings this week and now you got to go dilly-dally and drop. Oh, I'm whooping myself. Like, where's the flip-flop? Yeah, you know how we do. Oh, I got to go dilly-dally. And next thing you know, 500 gone because you was in your feelings, spending it just because you could. What I say earlier, how you handle that 100 is how you gonna handle that 100 when it's a K behind it, when it's 3 more figures behind it. Steward it well. I'm talking to me and to you. Fourth area, steward your gift well. Don't play yourself small. Your voice, your creativity, your influence. The parable of the talents. What did the one who did not do it right do? He hid. This is not the season for you to hide as it relates to your gifts. This is not the season for you to play small as it relates to your gifts. This is not the season for you to shrink as it relates to your gift. This is not the time to procrastinate as it relates to your purpose, as it relates to using your gifts. Not spreading your pearls amongst swine. That's something that's said and people use that in a joking manner, but that is so true. While you should not shrink on a grand scheme, while this isn't the season to play small, while this isn't the time to procrastinate on your gifts, you also have to use discernment and knowing that there's some rooms that you'll be in that you're just gonna have to shut up in, because there's no need, there's no use in you wasting the gifts and you wasting the energy in those rooms or in those environments. And that's a matter of discernment. But in those rooms where you know it's meant for you to speak, it's meant for you to operate in the gift, don't play small, because playing small is also a form of disobedience. And we all know. I was watching an interview with Lecrae and DC Young Fly, and Lecrae was like, he called DC Young Fly church trenchy church or something. And DC was like, yeah, because I know how God is about disobedience. I know he does not play when it comes to that. And playing small is a form of disobedience. Don't play yourself small. Don't trick yourself out your spot. Area number 5, steward your body and your mind well. This one has been especially tough for me during this season because I've been trying to figure out my new norm with breastfeeding, with being up throughout the night, with getting back into exercising, with healing physically, internally, mentally, all of the ways that postpartum can turn you every which way but loose. But it does not negate the fact that it's important. The sleep, the nutrition, the mental health, the therapy, the prayer, it all matters. Like the word says, your body is a temple. How are you going to steward the temple that God has given you to walk through this life with? The spirit is what goes beyond when the body decays. But while we're here, while you're in it, how are you going to manage it? Steward it well. Second to last, stewarding your platform and your influence. This goes hand in hand with how I was talking about stewarding your gifts well. I still want to touch on it, especially for my creatives, my entrepreneurs, people in leadership roles. It's especially important that we steward our platform and our influence well. What does that look like? Operating in integrity. Your morals and values that you operate in when you don't have a mic, when you don't have a crowd, when you don't have eyes on you, that matters. Not promoting everything. I'm in that season right now. There are way more things that I say no to than the things that I say yes to. And I know because of how I'm pushing out content and deals and partnerships, it may seem like this girl's going nonstop, but I promise you there's so much more that I have to decline because I can't resonate, I can't in good faith promote it and stand behind it, that I have to say no to. If you say yes because of the dollar signs or because of the exposure, but when it's time to put it out and really put your name behind it, you're cringing a little bit, that's a sign that wasn't the one. That's not the one. Hand in hand with that is being selective over the things that you're willing to share, over the partnerships that you're willing to accept, both with businesses and with people. You can't collab with everybody because that's going to weaken your testimony. I was watching another podcast with Pastor Mike Jr. Pastor Mike Jr. and Crystal Renee Hazlett. I think that's her name. Keep it positive, sweetie. And basically he was saying that you can do the things, like you can be someone that promotes the good news of Jesus Christ and goes to the club, but you have to consider the fact that eventually your witness will be weakened with the choices that you decide to make. And so that's a form of stewarding your platform and influence. Stewarding your discipleship well. Okay, I'm this disciple of Jesus Christ. Like there's certain songs sometimes I want to put on my content. I can't put that on there. Because guess what? It's going to weaken your witness. There are certain places that, I would like to go. The wings are good there. The wings are great there. Years ago, I wouldn't have thought twice about going, but I cannot enter every room and be around everything and plaster certain things with my face because I do not want to weaken my witness. I still struggle with that even now. I'm like, oh, it's just a song, but it's not just a song. Oh, it's just an establishment. It's not just an establishment. And so being mindful of stewarding your platform, your influence, and I'm going to go ahead and add on stewarding your discipleship well. Oh, I'm tearing myself up with the belt today. How did we get here? I told y'all, it's for me, you, and us, because sheesh. Last but not least, stewarding your relationships well. Who you let close to you matters. I'm going to say it again. Who you let close to you matters. This is where boundaries come into play. Everybody's not your friend. Some people are just your coworker. Some people are just your associate. Some people are just a fellow mom at the mom group, a fellow member at the church. Because let's talk about that. Just because y'all go to the same church doesn't mean that y'all supposed to be locked in like this. And that goes back to being discerning about who is supposed to be in the inner circle, the outer circle, and the way out there. Not even in the circle. Also being cognizant of the fact that certain levels of relationship require mutual pouring. Granted, there will be some relationships, you being their coach, you being their mentor, you being their deacon, their minister, their elder, their associate, their teacher, whatever, where the pouring is only supposed to go one way. But when somebody is close to you, when y'all are in a relationship that's close to your heart, there should be mutual pouring, not just one-sided, you always being depleted or them always pouring into you. It should be mutual. Be mindful of that. That's how you steward relationships well. Being clear on what is this? What am I expecting out of this? And how do I operate in a way that honors the relationship that has been identified for this person and me? And with that, not overgiving yourself, overcommitting yourself when it's not returned, and in spaces where you're meant to operate in that way. Say you're the coach, say you're the mentor, still not overpouring to the point where you're depleted and left without in the end. Because love does not require self-abandonment. That's not love, that's abuse. And you're the one getting abused, just in case you had to wonder. So I know we shared a lot in this episode, but I just want you to reflect on 3 points when you're going throughout your week, when you're maybe reflecting on this episode. If you made it this far, you are a real one. But ask yourself, where am I leaking? Second, where am I avoiding responsibility? And last but not least, because probably most important, what blessing am I mishandling? And be honest with yourself. Write it out, talk about it, pray about it, whatever your process is. But ask yourself those 3 things and really get in the field as far as what that looks like for you. And this episode, the reason why I say I'm whooping myself so heavily by talking about what I just shared is because it speaks to where I am right now. I'm not necessarily on the edge of my seat for more because I know it's coming. I could feel it. I could feel the transformation happening every day. But I'm really trying to lock in, and I really am locking in on managing what's in front of me well, because I know that in order to sustain what's on the way, I have to be a version of myself that can manage those things well. And how do I become that version of myself? I manage what's in front of me right now well. That's how you build trust with yourself. I talk about that a lot. Building trust with yourself. How do you show up? Are you a person of your word? And not only that, but more importantly, building trust with God. That 1 Corinthians 4:2, that you can be given a trust because you've proven yourself faithful. You continue to prove yourself faithful. It all matters. So this week, in addition to asking yourself those questions, I want you to pick one area of your life. Target that one area and steward it better in the coming week. That could be in the area of your time, in the area of your money, in the area of rest, in the area of relationships, in the area of obedience. Steward it better this week. And in doing so, I want you to be gentle with yourself. Not too gentle to the point where you become lazy, but be gentle enough with yourself to be reminded that you're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you are not behind, and that God redeems messy seasons. So maybe last season you slipped up. Maybe last year you slipped up. Maybe last year you didn't manage well. It does not mean that you won't be redeemed. God does his best work with areas of redemption to say you did not manage it well that time, but this time you can be trusted because you showed me something different. This time I can give it to you and you're not going to fumble it. This time I'm going to give it to you and you could double it. This time it's going to look different. Why? Because the stewardship looks different. With that being said, let's pray, and then we're going to close this episode on out. Bow your head, close your eyes, let's get right into it. God, I thank you for every single person under the sound of my voice. I thank you for breaking them to this episode. And I thank you for everything that you shared through me, your vessel, during this time. God, I thank you for trusting us with blessings. I thank you for trusting us with people. I thank you for trusting us even with material things. I thank you that you continue to give us chance after chance to prove that we are faithful over the blessings that you continue to entrust us with. I thank you that you redeem messy situations. I thank you that you're the giver of all, and that because you give, there's no thing that you will withhold so long as we prove that we are faithful over it. God, give us the strength to be faithful over the things that you have trusted us with. God, show us the areas that we need to steward better. Show us the blessings that we need to steward more intentionally. And when we do, allow us to see the fruit in doing so. And also allow us to be reminded that that fruit doesn't always come in the form of the material, but sometimes we can breathe a little lighter. We can breathe a little easier because we stewarded those things well. Help us to operate in gratitude for the ways that you continue to bless us. Help us to operate in obedience to steward the ways in which you bless us. And we will continue to give your name all of the glory, all of the honor, all of the praise. And it's in your name we do pray. Amen. Well, this episode turned out to be a little lengthy. Needless to say, I really missed you guys. I'm so glad to be back, and I'm really, really, really excited. I said this last episode, I'm going to say it again. I'm so excited for episode 45, which is going to be titled, Are You Called There or Just Comfortable There? I'm so ready to get into that. I didn't even finish planning the episode yet, but points just keep jumping at me mentally and spiritually, and I'm like, yeah, we about to get into some things. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. It won't be long before we're back for episode 45. Take care of yourself in the meantime, and I'll see you very, very soon. Later.